All right, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about logarithmic differentiation. And so logarithmic differentiation involves using the natural log to aid in differentiating or finding the derivative of more complex functions. And so because of the nice derivative rule, as well as some of the properties of the natural log function, it is convenient to use in aiding the differentiation of other non-logarithmic functions. And so before we can look at the process of logarithmic differentiation, we first need to recall the derivative rules for the natural log function, as well as some important properties for the function. And so first, let's recall the derivative rules for the natural log function. We know that the derivative of the natural log of x is equal to 1 divided by x. And so this is the most basic form of the derivative of the natural log function, but we also have the complete version of this rule that you can use for any natural log function where u is some function of x. Right, and so in this case, the derivative of the natural log of u is equal to 1 divided by u times the derivative of u with respect to x. And of course, that can be rewritten as u prime, the derivative of u, divided by u. All right, and so then we also have three important properties for the natural log function that you're going to want to keep in mind, and that is that if you have the natural log of some value a to the power of n, that power can be moved to the outside of the function, and it would be equal to that power of n times the natural log of a. And then we also know that the natural log of two values a and b multiplied together is equal to the natural log of the first value a plus the natural log of the second value b. And then the last property is if we have the natural log of a quotient of two values a and b, that is equal to the natural log of the numerator a minus the natural log of the denominator b. And so keeping these derivative rules and these properties in mind, we can now look at the process of logarithmic differentiation. All right, so consider the function y equals the square root of x squared minus 1 divided by x squared plus 1, where x is greater than 0. How would we find the derivative, or dy dx, of this function? Well, normally, since we have a composite function here, right, we have this function inside the square root function, we would need to use the chain rule, and then when we would take the derivative of our inside function as a part of the chain rule, we would actually need to use the quotient rule. And so you can see how quickly this derivative would get very messy. And so what we can do to take the derivative of this function a lot easier is to introduce the natural log function. And so what we're going to do is take the natural log of both sides of this function. And so what we'll have is the natural log of y is equal to the natural log of the square root of x squared minus 1 divided by x squared plus 1. And so what this allows us to do by taking the natural log of both sides is to simplify this side of the equation to get some easier functions that we know how to take the derivative of. And so what do I mean by that? Well, if you remember, one of our logarithmic properties is if we have some value to a power inside the natural log function, we can move that power to the outside of that function. And so maybe you don't see it right now, but the square root function is actually taking this quantity or this value to the 1/2 power. And so what we can do here is rewrite this square root to be this quantity to the 1/2 power. And so then, using that property that we looked at earlier, we can move this power to the outside of our function. And so we'd have that the natural log of y is equal to 1/2 times the natural log of x squared minus 1 divided by x squared plus 1. And so now you can already start to see how much simpler this function on this side is starting to get, but we can actually simplify this even more if we use a different property that we know about the natural log function. And that is that if we have the natural log of a quotient of two values, we can rewrite this to be the natural log of the numerator minus the natural log of the denominator. And so we can rewrite this again to have the natural log of y is equal to 1/2 times the natural log of x squared minus 1 minus 1/2 times the natural log of x squared plus 1. Right? So keeping this 1/2 multiplied by the natural log function, we split this function up into two separate functions. The natural log of the numerator minus the natural log, or 1/2 times the natural log, of the denominator, x squared plus 1. And so now what we have on this side of the equation are two functions that we know how to take the derivative of pretty easily, right? The natural log function has a nice derivative that we can use that isn't too complicated as compared to taking the derivative of the square root of this quotient. And so if we clean up our work here a little bit, what we're going to need to do to differentiate this function now is differentiate both sides with respect to x. And so what's going to happen is we're actually going to be doing a little bit of implicit differentiation. And so if you're not familiar with that, we do have a lesson on that you can check out as well. I'll have that linked here for you. But the implicit differentiation is really only going to happen on this side of the equation where we have the natural log of y, right? Because we're going to be differentiating both sides with respect to x. And while this side of the equation is all in terms of x, we have y on this side. And so you're going to have to remember how to differentiate implicitly, but thankfully this isn't a very hard function to integrate implicitly. And so if we differentiate both sides of the equation with respect to x, this is what we will find. We will first take the derivative of the natural log of y as if y was x, right? That is how we differentiate implicitly. And so we know that the derivative of the natural log of x is 1 divided by x, and so that means that the natural log of y would be 1 divided by y. So we'll have 1 divided by y, but then remember, when you use implicit differentiation, you need to multiply by dy dx, or the derivative of whatever variable you have with respect to x, right? So in this case we have y, so we're going to have dy dx. And so this is going to be equal to the derivative of this function with respect to x, right? So we're going to have 1/2 times the derivative of the natural log of x squared minus 1. And so in this case, to take the derivative of this function, we're going to take the function inside our natural log function and put it under 1. So we're going to have 1 divided by x squared minus 1, and then we need to multiply by the derivative of the inside function. And the derivative of x squared minus 1 is going to be 2x, because if we use the power rule on x squared, we will multiply that exponent down to have 2 times x, and then subtract 1 from the exponent to be left with an exponent of 1. And then of course the derivative of negative 1 is 0, because the derivative of any constant like negative 1 is 0. All right, and so then we're going to take the derivative of this function. We have minus 1/2 times the natural log of x squared plus 1. And so we're going to have minus 1/2. And then the derivative of this natural log function will be 1 divided by this inside function. So we're going to have times 1 divided by x squared plus 1. And then we're going to multiply by the derivative of that inside function. And so we will multiply by 2x. Because just like x squared minus 1, the derivative of x squared plus 1 will also be 2x. The only difference is the constant of negative 1 and plus 1, but the derivative of any constant is 0, and so it's going to have the same derivative. All right, and so now we have successfully taken a derivative with respect to x of both sides of our equation. And so we are one step closer to finding the derivative of this function using logarithmic differentiation. And so our next step is just going to be to simplify what we have now and try to get it in a nicer form. And so I'm going to notice that this 2 and this 2 are going to cancel out, right? This 2 is in the denominator and this 2 is in the numerator. And the same thing with this 2 and this 2. And so what we're going to have is that 1 divided by y times dy dx is equal to this x times this fraction. So we're going to have x divided by x squared minus 1. And then we are going to subtract, right? We have a subtraction sign, x times this fraction. And so we will have x divided by x squared plus 1. All right, and so then if we clean up our work here, our next step is going to be to combine these two fractions by giving them a common denominator. And so all we have to do to get a common denominator is multiply each of them by a form of 1 of what is in the other fraction's denominator. And so what we'll have is that 1 divided by y times dy dx is equal to x divided by x squared minus 1 times the denominator of this fraction, x squared plus 1, as a form of 1. So we're going to have x squared plus 1 divided by x squared plus 1. And then we will subtract this fraction, x divided by x squared plus 1, multiplied by the denominator of the other fraction as a form of 1. So we'll have x squared minus 1 divided by itself. And so we'll multiply by x squared minus 1 divided by x squared minus 1. And so if we simplify, we'll have 1 divided by y times dy dx is equal to x times x squared plus 1. So that would be x cubed plus x. And this will be divided by x squared minus 1 times x squared plus 1, right? If we multiply the denominators together, this is what we will have. And then we will subtract x times x squared minus 1. So we'll have x cubed minus x, and that will be divided by the same denominator of x squared minus 1 times x squared plus 1. All right, so then if we clean up our work here, our next step is going to be to combine these two fractions into one fraction. Since they have the same denominator now, right, they have a common denominator, we can add together their numerators. And remember to distribute this negative to both terms in this numerator. And we will have that 1 divided by y times dy dx is equal to x cubed plus x minus x cubed plus x, right? This negative will make this negative positive, and we're still dividing by x squared minus 1 times x squared plus 1. All right, and so then notice that this x cubed and this negative x cubed will cancel out because x cubed plus negative x cubed is 0. And then these two x's will become 2x. And so now finally we have that 1 divided by y times dy dx is equal to 2x divided by x squared minus 1 times x squared plus 1. And so now we have a nice simplified function on this side of our equation. And so if we clean up our work again, we can now move on to our next important step in the logarithmic differentiation process, and that is to multiply both sides by y, right? In order to eliminate this 1 divided by y, we're going to multiply both sides by y, and that will isolate dy dx, which is what we are trying to solve for. And so if we do that, we will have dy dx is equal to y times 2x divided by x squared minus 1 times x squared plus 1. Right, and so now we have one more step left. The last thing that we need to do is to substitute y with what it is equal to in terms of x, and then simplify. And so what is y equal to? Well, if we go back to our original function, we know that y is equal to the square root of x squared minus 1 divided by x squared plus 1. And so we can replace y in this derivative with this function. And so when I do that, I'm going to write it as this quantity to the 1/2 power rather than writing the square root. And you'll see why. It's going to make simplifying a little bit easier. And so we're going to have dy dx is equal to x squared minus 1 divided by x squared plus 1 to the 1/2 power times 2x divided by x squared minus 1 times x squared plus 1. And so if we clean up our work again, we can simplify this by rewriting this function right here to be this numerator to the 1/2 power divided by this denominator to the 1/2 power, right? This 1/2 power would be applied to both the numerator and the denominator. And so what we'd really have here is x squared minus 1 to the 1/2 power and x squared plus 1 to the 1/2 power. And that's going to allow us to more easily simplify this function because look what's in the denominator of this term. We have x squared minus 1 and x squared plus 1 as two separate quantities. And so we're going to be able to reduce this by combining these same quantities with different powers with these quantities. Right, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this quantity to the denominator by giving it a negative exponent, and that's going to allow me to see how I'm going to combine the exponents of our similar quantities. And so what we'll have is that dy dx is equal to 1 divided by x squared plus 1 to the 1/2 power times x squared minus 1 to the negative 1/2 power. Right, we moved this quantity with a positive power to the denominator, so now it has a negative power. And that's still multiplied by 2x divided by x squared minus 1 times x squared plus 1. All right, so we have one more step of simplifying here, and then we will have our final answer or our derivative of this function. And so all we have to do is combine these quantities by adding their exponents, right? If you had x to the power of 4 times x to the 3rd power, you would say that this is equal to x to the 7th power because you add the exponents. And so that's going to be the same for these quantities. If we multiply x squared plus 1 to the 1/2 power times x squared plus 1 to the 1st power, we're going to add 1/2 and 1, and that will be to the 3/2 power. And the same for this quantity and this quantity, we will add negative 1/2 and 1 to get positive 1/2. And so what we'll have is that the derivative dy dx is equal to 2x divided by x squared plus 1 to the 3/2 power times x squared minus 1 to the 1/2 power. All right, and so this is the final answer, or the derivative dy dx of our original function. And so now just for a quick review, these are the three steps that we used for logarithmic differentiation. We started by taking the natural log of both sides, and then we simplified. And once we were done simplifying, we differentiated both sides with respect to x, and then we simplified again. And then after that, we multiplied both sides by y, and that would isolate dy dx. And then we substitute y for the original function, and then we simplify to have our final answer of the derivative dy dx. All right, and so let's do another example where we use this process, or we use these steps of logarithmic differentiation, so you can get some more practice with using this method of finding a derivative. All right, so for our second example, we have a much simpler function here, but this is actually a function that is going to require us to use logarithmic differentiation, because if you look at this function, we don't currently know any other methods of differentiation that are going to allow us to take this derivative. We have never seen x to the power of another function defined with x before. And so while this might seem like a complicated function to find a derivative of, logarithmic differentiation is actually going to make it pretty simple. And so we'll start by taking the natural log of both sides of the equation. And so we'll have the natural log of y is equal to the natural log of x to the power of cosine x. And so now what we can do is use one of the properties that we know about the natural log function, that we can move a power inside our natural log function to the outside of the function. And so we can rewrite this to be the natural log of y is equal to cosine x times the natural log of x, right? We can move this exponent to the outside and multiply it by the natural log by using one of the properties of the natural log function. And so now what we have is a much simpler function that we can take the derivative of using the product rule, right? Because we have two functions being multiplied together, and so we can find that derivative using the product rule. And so if we take the derivative of both sides with respect to x, we will first take the derivative of the natural log of y, and that's going to be equal to 1 divided by y times the derivative of y with respect to x, right? We need to multiply by dy dx. And then for the derivative of the other side, we're just going to have to use the product rule. And so if you don't quite remember the product rule, I'll have it up here on the screen for you to reference as we go through this derivative. But what we're going to have is our first function, cosine x, times the derivative of our second function, the natural log of x. And the derivative of the natural log of x is equal to 1 divided by x. And then we will add this to our second function, the natural log of x, times the derivative of cosine x. And we know from our derivative rules for trig functions that the derivative of cosine is negative sine x. And so that's the end of our product rule. And so if we clean up our work here, and then we simplify this a little bit, we will have 1 divided by y times dy dx is equal to cosine x divided by x. And then we're going to have minus, because this negative from negative sine will come out to the front, and we'll have the natural log of x times sine x. All right, and so now that we have simplified this, our next step is going to be to isolate dy dx so that we can solve for it to find the derivative of this function. And so we're going to have to multiply both sides by y to cancel out this 1 divided by y. And so if we do that, we'll have dy dx is equal to y times cosine x divided by x minus the natural log of x times sine of x. And so then finally, our last step is just going to be to replace y with what it is equal to, which we can find by going back to our original function, that y is equal to x to the power of cosine x. And so if I clean up our work one more time here, we will have that the derivative dy dx is equal to y, which we know is x to the power of cosine x. So we will have x to the power of cosine x times cosine x divided by x minus the natural log of x times sine of x. And there we have it. This is the derivative of our function. Okay, and so that is all I had for this lesson. If you want to see some more examples of using logarithmic differentiation, you can check out our examples video that I'll have linked at the end of this video, as well as in the description below. If you have any questions, feel free to leave those in the comments. But if you don't have any questions, this is all I had for now. So I will see you next time.